Hi, how you doing? And welcome to this video in which I'm going to show you how you can create or easily create coloring books that you can upload and then ultimately sell either on Amazon KDP, Etsy or other websites just like that. Inside today's video I'm going to show you how we can create something similar to what I have on screen. This is a unique coloring book that you'll not find anywhere else, purely because I know this is a custom pack, and obviously you can follow along with the same tips and tricks using Canva and whatever assets you have. But in this video I'm going to use this custom pack and I'm going to show you how I created a book very like this inside Canva. So before we get started, typically you need to know what size of book that you're going to be uploading onto the likes of Amazon KDP. Now I do know my size and dimensions. It is 8.5 by 11 inches. But if you're not sure, of course you can come across to Amazon and I'll drop the link in below the video. What you'll get there is information on the dimensions, also information as to whether to go with bleed or no bleed. And essentially what it's showing you in these two images here, the left hand image here, or picture or page should I say, is showing no bleed, and essentially what that means is there's a clear white gap around the outside edge, and on the right hand side you can see that there is bleed on the image, and the image spills right across into the actual edge of the page. For these dimensions, what you simply want to do is scroll down using the link that I've given you. Click the examples of page size without bleed, if that's the option that you're going. And what that'll do is it'll actually give you dimensions without bleed and with bleed. Now I do know my book size and it is 8.5 inches by 11 inches, but your dimensions are here. Follow along with these and then come across into Canva and start creating a new project. So now that we're across in Canva, of course if you don't have an account, it's free. Go create an account, a free account, and then you can follow along with this tutorial. And essentially what you want to do, get logged in and select the create a design button. It's going to give you a pop-up something similar to this, and what I want to do is I want to choose a custom size for my document. When you come across to the point where you can enter your sizes, if you're not 100% sure, you can come back across, refer to the page on Amazon. It's 8.5 by 11 is what I'm going to enter, and it's also in inches. So I need to change this from pixels to inches, but you will also see that there's centimeter dimensions given there for you as well, 21.59 by 27.94. So what I'll do is I'll enter it in inches at 8.5 and my height is 11 inches. Now that I've got 8.5 by 11 in inches, I want to create a new design. Canva is going to give me a blank page and that's me ready to start designing. Now, the other thing that I want to bear in mind is the fact that we have the bleed and the no bleed. And if you look at the left hand image here, you'll see there's an actual border with white space around the border. We want to ensure that we contain our content within that. Otherwise you can get upload errors whenever you're uploading into Amazon. I do have a template, but if you're not sure, what you can do is you can come back to this page and scroll to the bottom and you'll see you actually do have your margins, and our book is going to be less than 150 pages. You're given your inside margins at 0.37 inches and of course your outside margins of 0.375. To do that, what you can do is have your rulers on and then apply guides. Drag your guide out to 0.375. If you find it's a little bit fiddly, what you need to do is zoom in and then your adjustment becomes a bit easier. And that's it. I've now got it at 0.375. Took a bit of fiddling to get there, but I got there in the end. Now what I have for you today is a template that you can use, and I'll link that below the video. You can download this template, drag it and drop it into your image, and it'll help you apply your guides. So I've got that image. Basically I'll just drag that and drop that into place. I will resize it so that it matches the size of my page. And you'll see the first guide that I've already applied is already on that location. What I'll then do is I'll drag out additional guides and I'll locate them on the edge. What you want to do, of course, is locate them on the edge between the sort of inner area and the pink magenta area to the outside, and the same with the top and the bottom. I'll get them dragged out very quickly, and then what I do is I will zoom in and I make my fine adjustments. Again, I drop it right onto the edge of the guide and finally onto the bottom. And if I zoom back now, I've got my guides in all locations where I need. What I can now do is I can select the rear image and delete that image. I now have the guide set up for every single page moving forward, and I know that if I contain my content within these guides, then I'm within the no bleed option as shown over on Amazon. So now what I can do is I can start to design my book. I know that I want to create 30 images, and I'm also going to have a title page. So that's 31 pages for definite that I'm going to be using in the book. I also know that for every color page that I'm going to use, I want a rear blank page, exactly as I was showing you inside this flip book. Blank page on the left hand side and the coloring page on the right hand side. The reason for doing that is whenever the artist or whoever purchases the book colors the book in, we don't want any bleed through from any pens coming through onto an additional image, so you always leave that blank page for any bleed through of colors. With that said, if I have 31 pages that's going to be inside my book internally, then I need 62 total pages. I hope you understand the concept of that. What I want to do then is I want to go to grid view, I want to copy the first page, and then it's Control C, Control V until I get 64 pages. You'll see here I'm just hitting Control V and Canva's very quickly creating the pages for me. I'm just watching the numbers. So I now have my 64 complete pages. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to grid view on page 1, or I'm going to go back to list view page 1, and that's me ready to start designing my document. You'll see that my guides are appearing on each page, which we're going to use as we progress. So now that we have our blank page and we're on page 1, the first thing that I want to do is I want to add a heading into the book. I'm going to title it Teddy Goes to School, and we're going to move that. So I've moved it so that it's contained within my guides, and I want to move it to the top of the book or the top of the page, and I want to bring the font size down so that it's in one line. And then finally what I want to do is I want to look at the font itself and change that font out. You can use quite a heavy font here, because what I want to do, again I'll show you now, is I want to give a bit of design to this font. So I'm going to give it an effect and I want it to be hollow, and then the final thing that I want to do with it is give it a curve of about 20, and you'll see now that that's an actual heading that can be used and colored in. So I now have that asset into place. Teddy Goes to School. The next thing that I want to do is I want to add in an additional "this book belongs to." Now I have this pre-designed. I like to keep this on the center vertical but not on the horizontal. I like to push it down slightly because I'm going to place a character in here and I want to give just that little bit more room. Now you don't have to use that. What you can do is you can come into the elements and search for border. And of course my suggestion would be come down through the graphics, pick out a graphic that you quite like. So for example, you could drag this into the page and then go back to your elements. What we're looking at now, if I get rid of that, we put in a line, and then obviously we can drag that out to meet the lines that's going either side. we can design it such a way that this book belongs to, put in the text and design it whatever way you want. I don't typically use that. I typically use my pre-designed templates. So I like to use this for this particular book, and the reason being is obviously I'm going to be dragging in content, and I know that I want to bring in my characters. So I can place my first character here. One thing I will say, and I will be honest and upfront about this, the reason why this book is going to be unique, and I know for a fact that it's unique, is because this is custom content. It is available for sale. You can purchase it, and obviously then that way you have, it's very limited custom content. You will know that there's very few other creators that are using this content. Likewise, this is not AI generated. This is hand drawn by an artist, and obviously then generated into digital scalable graphics. Let me just bring onto screen what we've got, and this, of course, is the Teddy pack, where I've got various different characters, all themed about going to school, and I can use these graphics in any way that I see fit in my book publishing business. Of course, I've got pre-built and pre-designed characters. I also have pre-built and pre-designed coloring pages, and I'm going to use a complete page in this example just to speed the process up. So now that I'm happy with the title page, if I was publishing this book, I would add a little bit more content into every page, and I would try and maximize the page that I have. But for ease of use and for speed in creating this video, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop there and move on. The only thing I would like to say is the reason why I do what I'm doing, for example, given the writing and the additional characters, is it gives the person who's bought the colouring book a place to test and an additional place for them to colour in. So it's maximising the assets for them to colour in as well. What we now need to do is we need to bear in mind that we need to leave the next page blank, and then we'll go on and start on page 3. And this is where we're going to bring in our first piece of content. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag in my pre-designed pages, and what I want to do is I want to add a border, and I'm going to add a border of 4 pixels. I'm going to give some corner rounding of 15, and that gives a nice curve in the edge. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to drag my content out from corner to corner, and I'm going to position it so it's vertical and horizontally aligned. So you'll see the crosshairs. I have brought it out to just as on the inside of the 2 right hand guides, and I'm going to leave the content there just to ensure that I don't have upload issues whenever I go into Amazon. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the next page. So I'm going to leave a page. I'm going to get the next page, which is page 5. It's really my second image, my second coloring image. So add my border, corner rounding. Of course, you can drag the sliders or you can type in the figure. I find it's quicker to type the figure. Now I will drag the content out close to my guide, In some cases, what you can also do is you can bring in, I'm just looking at the content, you can bring in another character. So I could drag in an additional character. I can put him into the image. And what I can do in this case is I could put this additional character in the image, and that way then I definitely guarantee that my page is going to be unique. It's going to be different. It's going to be something that nobody else has, and I know that for a fact by doing something like that. So I hope you see the concept that you've got here with purchasing a pack just like this. You can create a very unique book that you can then upload into Amazon, to Etsy, you know, your KDP books for coloring books. You can be guaranteed that they're unique because you've taken the time to build the book and you've used very, very customizable private content as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to build the rest of the book out, so I'm going to come back to you whenever I've got it completed. So I've just added in the very last image into this book, and I'm going to go back into grid view. And essentially what I want to do is I just want to get a good overview of the book. And you'll see every alternating page is a coloring page, a blank page, a coloring page, a blank page, a coloring page, a blank page. So that's that is the right hand side, left hand side, right hand side, left hand side, right hand side. You get the idea with the blank page in between. And of course, if you wanted to add pages in between, then what you can do is you can either come into Canva and click the plus, or you can drag and move your pages about and reorder them. But you essentially want to have alternating pages between coloring pages and blank pages. When you're happy with the final design of your book, then what you want to do, I'm just going to close grid view and come back to the top. Essentially what I want to do is I want to publish my book, or I need to download my book so that I can go and get it published. The other thing that I'm going to need is I'm going to need to do a cover, a fancy graphic cover, which I'll do in a separate video, and I'll take you through how I do that for Amazon KDP. But for this example, what we're going to do is we're going to click the share icon, and then what we're going to do is we're going to choose the download option. We're going to change it from the suggested PNG to PDF for print. We want all the pages. We don't have a professional account, and to be honest, RGB is fine because it's a black and white book. We're not looking for the colors. You can choose save download settings, but I typically like to just come through this and check this on myself and then choose download. What's going to happen, Canva's going to do its thing. It's going to create the PDF for me, and then it's going to give me an option for me to save this PDF. So I hope you found today's video helpful in creating a coloring book for free using Canva. Now I will say that there are additional assets that you can go and use, for example Creative Fabrica and your own coloring images, or artificially generated or AI generated content. What I've used in this particular book, and what I always use, is unique content that is editable, it's scalable, and of course it's not AI generated. These are hand-drawn images. So to grab your copy of this content or any of the other coloring packs that I have for sale, find the link below this video, come across to my website, check out the content that I have for sale, and know that these are hand-drawn, customizable graphics that you can use and upload within your coloring books. And of course, know that you're going to be unique whenever you do so. And of course, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see you across in the next video, where we're going to look at the designing of the actual cover page. So I'll see you across in the next video.